As many of you already know, and for those who don't, Ryan and I just got married this last weekend. So in honor of that, I thought today I'd give you my 5 tips on gaming with your significant other. Tip number 1, when you first introduce yourself to the group, also introduce your relationship. So this is best if it comes up in conversation, like, hi, my name's Dawn, and this is my husband, Ryan. I have to get used to using that term. So not only does this introduce what your relationship is, so the other players aren't guessing, are you a couple, are you just friends? They know, so they're not going to be guessing, and that will make it a little bit easier on the other players. Not only does this let the other players know what your relationship is, it also lets them know what term they should use, what term you guys would prefer using. For example, girlfriend, boyfriend, fiance, partner, husband, wife, etc. So at Gen Con, we kind of experienced a little bit of this. We sat down to play a one-shot, and another couple came and sat down. They were signed up to play the same one-shot, and they sat down and introduced themselves as, Bob and his wife, Susan. And, Ryan introduced himself and me as, Ryan, his fiance Dawn, and our friend Tucker was going to be joining. So that helped let those other people know that we were meeting for the first time. Hey, the 3 of us all already know each other. So that kind of explained why we were a little bit more friendly and had a little bit better rapport already going into the game. So they weren't like, they just met and they're already making inside jokes. This also saves other people from accidentally saying something that they wouldn't say if they knew that this new person was a significant other. So, like if one of you leaves the room, they won't say something like, oh, hey, do you happen to know if they're dating anyone? Awkward. Tip number 2, don't play favorites. This is especially important if one of the people in the relationships is the DM. That will turn kind of the other players off really quickly. This is all from, luckily not personal experience, this is from what I've heard other people talk about online. It's really important that you treat all of the players equally, and that, if somebody's in trouble, you go and rescue that player's character, if that's what your character would do, and not, oh, well, no, I'm going to stay over here in case my husband needs help because I'm the healer and, well, I want to make sure he heals first. If that's not character driven, then it's not going to make a really good gaming experience, and it's probably going to piss the other players off really quickly. Now, if one of the people in the relationship is new to gaming, it is still good to kind of give that person a little bit of extra attention and help them with rules or mechanics, just as you would any other player. And that's kind of the big important on this one. Treat your partner, husband, wife, as any other player. Tip number 3. Now this is a purely personal one, but I personally like to avoid romantic relationships in-game, in character. Just personally, I think this can get a little too confusing, what things are happening in-game and what things are like, hey, I just got up to go get a drink from the kitchen and brought back something for Ryan, and he gives me a nice peck on the cheek, and well, is that in-game? Is that not? Whereas if clearly we've established that there's not any romantic relationship between our characters, it's clear that's an out-of-game moment. And also I think it just gets a little too confusing and could possibly make the other players feel like they're unintentionally sitting in on a different kind of role play that's maybe should be more private. Yes? Tip number 4, be aware of your PDA. Now this is not saying that you shouldn't display affection to each other out in public. I think it's important to be aware of everyone else's comfort level. So if you notice that, me giving Ryan a kiss when he brought back a drink from the kitchen, somebody else seems a little uncomfortable about that, that's a point where I might approach them and ask, hey, I noticed you seemed a little uncomfortable about this. Am I reading the situation right? Is there something I can do? Because I want to feel comfortable to kiss my husband whenever I want to, but I also don't want to make somebody I want to be gaming with feel uncomfortable being there, being in my presence. So it might be something that you can just establish, like, okay, yeah, we'll kiss, but we'll make sure we don't cross the line into makeout. And maybe the other person thought you were kind of crossing the line a little bit and you can make sure to stay over on this side of the line. Or maybe it's something that there's not really anything you can do, but the mere fact that you asked, you brought that up and tried to make the other person feel more comfortable, it might actually make them more comfortable even if there is nothing that you can do, that you at least made an effort. And tip number 5 is less of a tip and more of an observation. Gaming together might not be for everyone. Ryan and I are really lucky that gaming is one of the hobbies that we get to do together, and we really love spending our time together. It's nice when we have our separate things, that gaming time is when we get to hang out with not only each other but our friends. But for some people I know, gaming is a chance to get together with their guy friends or get together with just their friends, have a little bit of time away from their significant other. And personally, I think it's important to have a life, have other relationships other than just the relationship with your significant other. If it's not for you, it's not for you. Or maybe you fall somewhere in between. You like gaming with them, but you're not going to do every single game with your significant other. Like when Ryan and I go to Gen Con, we often will split up and do different things because it allows us a little bit more flexibility in our personal gaming group at home. Even the sessions that I'm less interested in, the campaign or the setting, I still end up playing because it's a chance to play with all of my friends. If everybody else wants to play the Transformers session, even though I'm not as into Transformers, I'm still gonna play it because I don't want to miss out time hanging out with my friends, and I'll still enjoy it. It's just not going to be something that when I'm at a convention, I'm gonna say, okay, of these 5 things, I may have a different number 1 than Ryan's number 1. So we will oftentimes split up, and that's perfectly okay too. So these are just a few tips. I'm interested to hear if you have any experience gaming with your significant other and have additional tips or anything else you'd like to add. Let me know down below. And even if you don't have experience gaming with your significant other, if you've had any experiences where another player has introduced a significant other or started dating somebody in your group, let me know down below kind of the things that you either noticed that was frustrating or things that you noticed they did that was really great and really made the entire experience work well. If you have any horror stories that we can all learn from, let's talk about them down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!